Okay, I would like to open up the Dutchess County LDC meeting. Jasmine, will you please take roll call for attendance?
Tim Dean,
Here.
Mark Doyle,
Yeah.
Kathy Bauer,
Here.
Amy Bonadiri.
Here.
James McComb.
Here.
Okay, for the record again, we have a quorum present in person, and so that allows us, Mark Doyle is attending by Zoom, and his vote, he can participate, including voting in the meeting. Okay, does anybody have a conflict of interest with any matter that's going to come before us on the agenda? Okay, if something comes up during the meeting, please let us know and we will recuse you. Proof of meeting notice posted,
Yes.
correct? Okay. Any bills and communications?
I do have one communication
Wow,
for the announcement.
I think that's a first.
Yeah, I thought maybe this might be more appropriate to be as a communication. But we were just recognized by the Business Facilities magazine as in the mid-size economic development organization. We were recognized as the best economic development organization in the United States.
Wow.
They recognized 24, so we're one of 24.
Still, that's
But
pretty
we are in the mid-sized category, population of 100,000 to 500,000. Primarily recognizing us for the work of partnerships, working with Dutchess Community College and all our partners to increase economic development opportunities, job opportunities for our population.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
So it's actually in the May issue of Business Facilities, will be featured.
That's wonderful. Okay, we have a need for approval of minutes for a March 13th meeting. Does anybody have any changes or modifications or questions about those minutes? Okay, if not, would somebody be willing to make a motion to approve them?
I'll make
Kathy?
the second.
Oh,
Okay.
Amy will make the motion, Kathy will second. Thank you. Jasmine, will you please take the vote?
James McComb,
Approved.
Amy Bonadiri.
Approved.
Kathy Bauer,
Approved.
Mark Doyle,
Approved.
Tim Dean.
Approved. Okay, moving on to the report of the treasurer. James.
Looking at the balance sheet for April 30th, 2024, we have cash of 2.9 million. Down below, we have the receivables of 123,000. 112,000 is for the county reimbursement that we'll be reviewing further down in the agenda. And 7,500 is the receivable from the county. Accounts payable, we have our payroll accrual of 31,000. Looking at the P&L, we have income of 296,000 to a budget of 995,000. So right now we're unfavorable by 699,000. We have total expenses of 425,000 to a budget of 1.3 million. So we're favorable right now by 902,000. We're at a net loss of 128,000 to a budgeted loss of 331,000. So right now we're favorable by 203,000. Just one note for rent, because this is, the building is now owned by Prime Holding. The rent just on the storage unit, we had to sign a lease for a year. They are charging as if it were an office space or storage space, which it could be technically, you could put a desk in there. They're gonna be charging CAM charges for monthly, so that's $98 additional. And the rent did go up about $150 for the year. So, but that $100 CAM charge, and then also they'll charge the difference between the real estate property taxes. There's a difference there. So right now, that's a yearly one. They said that it would be more expensive to go to a unit where they can increase it monthly, and it's billed monthly.
Is there, again, it's not the cost, I mean, it's relatively insignificant to our budget, but as far as storage, I imagine it's for some of our records. And my question is as we move into the future, are we digitizing more of those things so we don't need to have paper storage?
So we're digitizing as much as we can. However, New York state law doesn't move as fast as technology, and so parts of the law does require us to keep paper records. So,
Okay.
it is recognized up in Albany that that's old, and they always talk about, okay, we should change it, but it's such a small.
Yeah, well, plus
No.
to go back and digitize
Yeah.
paper was also an expensive
Yeah,
proposition.
yeah.
What's the sunset on papers that we keep? Is there?
Well, some of them we have to keep forever. So like the financials, we just follow IRS guidelines, but there are some records regarding projects that we're required to keep during the lifetime of the existence of that organization, so.
And the lease on the, this area, is not up until 26. So we won't have to worry about any CAM charges or anything else. So.
All right, anybody have any questions on the IDA financials? Okay, committee reports?
No committee reports.
Okay. Unfinished business?
I do want to say, actually, it occurred to me I just want to go back to your question of why we do it under the IDA and LDC.
Yes.
Is also when Think Dutchess was created, it was a result of the dissolution of the Dutchess County Economic Development Corporation, and that was an LDC. So I think part of it, the reason why we do economic development through the LDC and not the IDA was when because DCEDC was an LDC and we had an existing LDC, it was easier to consolidate that.
Then to dissolve it
To dissolve it and then put it under the IDA since they were similar structure.
Okay. All right, new business, first quarter county reimbursement request.
So, as per our county, contract, it requires board approval before we submit it. It is basically, work that we did that I presented under the IDA. So
Right.
this is a reimbursement. So this is money that we had paid out.
Now, we need approvals on these?
Yes.
Do you want to do them individually or as a group? How do you want to handle it?
It's up to the board if they want to do both. So one is the first quarter, Dutchess County reimbursement request. The second one is our first quarter for under the ARP contract.
ARP stands for?
The American Rescue Plan Act
Okay.
contract. I'll just note that this, our first quarter under the ARP contract will expend all the dollars we have left of that. So that contract, is the last one for the ARP.
7,500 anyway, right?
Yeah.
And that was for webinars that we held in March for small businesses.
So, attached is some paperwork. Obviously, the actual payment request behind that is a progress report. Sarah, do you want to talk about that at all? Is there anything in there that we should be aware of?
No, it's just like, and it's the same, I went over it on the LDC side, so
Sure.
it would be.
Sure. Okay, so those are the two. All right, would somebody be willing to make a motion to approve the first quarter county reimbursement request as well as the first quarter county ARP reimbursement request?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Amy.
Second.
Jamie would be willing to second. Thank you. Jasmine, could you please take a vote on those?
Jane McComb,
Approve.
Amy Bondieri.
Approve.
Kathy Bauer.
Approved.
Mark Doyle,
Approve.
Cindy.
Approved. Okay, so what I would like to do, I would like to call an executive session for the subject of review and discussion of employment history and 2023 performance of the CEO. And if somebody would be willing to make a motion to enter into that executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. And would somebody be willing to second?
I'll second it. How's that?
Okay, so all in favor of going into executive session?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, so we will adjourn the meeting. I'm sorry, not adjourn the meeting. We will go into executive session and then we will reconvene afterwards to continue.
Yeah, and then just for people, members of the public that are on via Zoom, we will be moved to a
Waiting room.
waiting room, and then, re-entered once executive session is at.
Thank you. Okay,
All right, just give us a minute.
yes. And how will I know that the proper things have stopped?
I'll come back in and let you know you can. Okay, we're all set.
Okay, I would like to adjourn, I'd like to reconvene the meeting of the Dutchess County IDA. Do we need to take I'm sorry, LDC, do we need to take a vote to re-adjourn, or we just?
You're back in
Okay, we're
regular,
back,
so.
just notifying everybody we are reconvening. And I would like to just make a comment that we, in executive session, we reviewed the performance of Sarah, our CEO, and that the board is, overall extremely pleased. I will go over with you the actual, results in a meeting with you. But based on that, I would just like to bring to the board's attention that we had budgeted for Sarah. Sarah's current salary was $128,750 per year. And based on the budget preparation, we had budgeted a 3% increase, which would make Sarah's salary this year $132,612.50. And then there is a fringe benefit that's available to all employees, and the maximum is $24,000 that would be available to Sarah. Would someone like to make a motion to approve this as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll make the motion,
to approve the 3%.
approve an additional 3%,
Oh.
the original 3%.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Okay, so based on performance, you're recommending that we increase the total increase to 6%?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody willing to second
I'll
that?
second it.
Okay, is there any discussion that anybody would like to have? Okay, again, I think, Mark?
I would just like to support this strongly. I think that Sarah has done extremely well, and as a result, the organization has done well, and the county likewise.
I would like to echo those comments. I think the performance of the agencies, the IDA and the LDC, have been outstanding and exceeded, our projections and expectations. And so I think it's justified that we find room in the budget for that salary increase. So we have a motion and a second to increase by, instead of 3%, 6%. So Jasmine, would you please take a roll call vote on that?
Jane Pacone,
Approved.
Amy Bondieri.
Approved.
Kathy Bauer.
Approved.
Mark Doyle,
Approved.
Jim Dean.
Approved. So thank you, Sarah, for a very good job for us.
So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
The board.
Okay, is there any other matter that needs to come before the IDA?
LDC.
I'm sorry, LDC, oh my gosh, I am so sorry, everybody. Okay, if not, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you all very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.